right, Dead by Daylight players, I want to talk about the news of the consultants announcing themselves. If you guys aren't aware, towards the end of last week, Behavior released their consultants from their NDA that prevented them from publicly announcing that they worked for Behavior as consultants. This is a program that's allegedly been around for years, and nobody really knows how these consultants were picked, which started a whole bunch of drama, which I think is absolutely crazy. Because the biggest point of contention seems to be that nobody knows how these consultants are qualified. And I think it's really weird that this is the thing that players are being vocal about, because there's so much that goes into development and maintaining and, marketing and just everything that goes into the video game industry. There are so many cogs in these giant machines that most people don't actually know like what goes into them. Like I guarantee that like most players only have a very top line idea of like what goes into character development, what goes into programming, what goes into marketing, but like you're not really questioning how the developers are qualified, how the play testers are qualified, because that's a position. Because one thing that really kind of came out was that people were attacking consultants based on their social media presence and how many hours that they have into the game. And that's a really weird take, on my opinion, because one, social media does not give you the entire picture of what it is somebody is capable of, what somebody has done professionally, what somebody has done in their personal life. Like social media is a very curated presentation of yourself to the world, and getting a following and developing that social currency to give yourself validity, that takes time. And that's something that even if you hypothetically do everything you're supposed to, you're not guaranteed this social currency. You're not guaranteed growth on social media. That's actually like a really huge pain point for content creators, but that's another video for another day. So like to attack these consultants because you don't think they have a large enough social media platform, I think is weird. I also think it's weird to come at people for the number of play time that they have into a game. Now, I would probably need to do more research into like how many hours does the average person put into a video game, but I would say 2,000 is a healthy number to understand the game. Now, actually, I would actually say it's important to have players of a variety of playtime. So, maybe you want somebody who's got 10,000 hours, but then maybe you also want somebody who's got less than 500. Because the thing about asymmetrical games is that, at least what I've noticed within the genre of asymmetrical horror games, is that they are very difficult for new players to get into. Like you can actually see this a lot with Texas Chainsaw, that they're having trouble growing because where the experienced players are and where the new players are coming in at is like they're nowhere near each other. So it's actually a very difficult, a very grindy, a very excruciating experience, I would say, for new players to get into Texas Chainsaw. And where kind of like Dead by Daylight doesn't have the issue that Texas Chainsaw has, is that because Dead by Daylight has such a huge community that they can kind of partner newer players with newer players to kind of let them build up themselves as they kind of get better, as they get used to the game. Then they can get in with more veteran players. But that newbie experience is still important, because while you still want that veteran, that core demographic, in order for your game to keep going, in order to have 8 years, because Dead by Daylight's coming up on its 8-year anniversary this year, you still need new players. Like you still need new life pumping into the game. So I think to say that somebody doesn't have enough hours to be a consultant for Dead by Daylight, it's a very short-sighted mindset, because again, you need new players. Like, yes, you want that core demographic. You want that group that's always been there, who's so loyal to the game, who they're only ever going to play Dead by Daylight, but they're not going to keep your game alive forever. You need new players. But I really kind of want to like hammer back that like digging through people's social media, digging through people's Steam profiles to kind of see like what makes someone qualified is just, it's so wild and crazy. And like what I kind of relate to it a lot, because so I work in marketing, or I worked in marketing. And you wouldn't know the experiences I got to do as a marketer looking at my social media profile. Because like I've already pointed out, you could do hypothetically everything right, but you're still working with an algorithm. You're still, working against like societal things and yada, 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 like day life gets in the way. Other people have more resources or less resources. It's a whole thing. I could talk about that on its own. But anyways, I like kind of using myself as an example, because you looking at my social media profile, you would see a small, struggling to grow content creator. But what you wouldn't know is I have successfully helped pitch for Activision Blizzard. Actually, that was one of the last contracts I helped pitch for when I was at my previous ad agency, was Activision Blizzard for Modern Warfare 2. We won the contract. But you wouldn't know that looking at me because I don't follow Call of Duty on social media. I don't play Call of Duty a lot on social media, but I still have the skills professionally to know how to like give insights that Activision Blizzard is looking for in a marketer. And so, yeah, so that's why I think it's really weird to do that. I think it's also really weird to demand transparency in this process, especially because this position, I don't know why people act like it's such like a new thing or like some secret insidious thing that like behavior was trying to hide it. Because too, another point that I kind of want to bring up is that like when you go at it that way, when you act like behavior was trying to hide something by not publicly announcing their consultants, which it's not a normal practice for video game developers to talk about their consultants and to like publicly give them kudos. Like that's one of those unsung hero kind of jobs, like playtesters. Most of the time you don't know who's playtesting a game. The same thing with consultants. They just kind of work similarly, but they're in separate capacities. So I think it's really weird to demand that you want to know how this one specific position is picked when you don't demand that of any other role in Dead by Daylight. Like, I don't see anybody demanding to know how community channels or the faces of their social media are picked. Like, some of them are known throughout their community. Like, I don't remember her name, but there's one person from Behavior on their TikTok who is known within the content creator community of Dead by Daylight. She seems lovely to me. I just don't personally know her. So like, it's actually kind of rare to have that though. Like it's kind of rare to have somebody who's established themselves and then goes to the brand side of things. Usually you kind of get the other way around, that like people get familiar with you because you're a face of the brand, and then you build up on social media because you have the backing of the brand's value to kind of give you that social currency that it takes to build up social media. So yeah, I think that's just something maybe that people don't understand, that like demanding to know how roles are filled is actually quite weird. And unless you're going to demand it of everybody, it's very weird, and it kind of reeks of jealousy. Because that's the thing, is like people like they're coming on Twitter and they're like demanding these answers, but they're like, but I just want to know. But it's like, but why don't you just want to know this for any other? I don't know. I feel like when I'm talking about this, like I happen to be the minority opinion in it. Like, I don't know if it's because I've worked with brands before, and so like I kind of have that insider scoop on it. You know, but what do you guys think? How do you guys feel about the news about these consultants finally like being released from their NDA and being able to come forward? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.